We, the jury, unanimously find the defendant, Chi Rick Chow, as to the charge of murder, not guilty. Signed number 302, foreperson, June the 1st, 2026. Madam Forelady, was this your verdict and the verdict of the entire jury?
Yes, ma'am, it was.
Thank you.
And from the state, would you like to poll the jury on?
Madam Forelady and ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I'm going to ask you two questions.
Jury seated, Your Honor.
Madam Forelady, I understand you've reached the verdict.
Yes, Your Honor, we have.
Can you please hand it to the bailiff there? All right, Madam Clerk, will you please publish?
Yes, sir, Your Honor. Indictment number 2023 GS 4007440, State of South Carolina, County of Richland versus Chi Rick Chow. We, the jury, unanimously find the defendant, Chi Rick Chow, as to the charge of murder, not guilty. Signed number 302, foreperson, June the 1st, 2026. Madam Forelady, was this your verdict and the verdict of the entire jury?
Yes, ma'am, it was.
Thank you.
And from the state, would you like to poll the jury on?
Madam Forelady and ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I'm going to ask you two questions.
So yesterday, the United States justice system proved to all American citizens that once again, that the system is only beneficial to everybody except Black Americans, Black people, Black migrants. It serves its purpose for everybody except Black people. Yesterday, in the United States justice system, after 8 hours of deliberation, a jury in a case involving Rick Chow, middle-aged Asian man who falsely accused a 14-year-old boy for stealing a water bottle at his gas station and then killed him for that false accusation, they decided that this man was not guilty. Not guilty. On May 28, 2023, Rick Chow and his son falsely accused 14-year-old Black American Cyrus Belton of stealing water bottles from their Shell gas station in South Carolina. Cyrus Belton, 14-year-old teenage Black American boy, did not steal. He did not steal. He did not steal. Mr. Chow, however, and his son, convinced that Cyrus stole these water bottles, proceeded to chase this boy out of the store. They chased him. After Mr. Chow and his son chase Cyrus for over 100 yards, Mr. Chow then proceeds to pull out a .45 Glock caliber and shoot Cyrus in the back, killing him. Footage then captured from surveillance shows that Cyrus never stole anything. He never took any bottles. He never took anything. And yet, a jury took 8 hours to deliberate, even with the evidence. They took 8 hours to deliberate, and they came out with the verdict that Mr. Chow was not guilty, that he was not guilty. Cyrus didn't steal anything. Cyrus didn't do anything wrong. He didn't commit any crime. He was chased, and then he was hunted down, and then he was shot in the back and killed. And they say that this man is not guilty. Y'all remember Latasha Harlan? 15-year-old girl killed by a Korean street corner store owner. Why? Because the store owner accused her of trying to steal a $1.79 bottle of orange juice. The owner falsely accused her and then took out a gun and used that to take Latasha's life. An honor roll student who wanted to become a lawyer, who did not steal, took her life because she was Black. It was because she was Black. And Mr. Chow took Cyrus's life because he was Black. And in this government, they allow for the lives of Black people to be claimed for any reason, under any justification, and they will always pardon the murderer. In 1991, with Latasha, at least they found the murderer guilty. They found the murderer guilty. Don't get me wrong. They gave her a slap on the wrist, right? They gave her 5 years probation, 400 hours of community service, and she was required to pay the funeral expenses of Latasha. But at least she was guilty. In 2026, we don't even get that. We don't even get that. Mr. Chow is able to now leave prison. He is acquitted with a non-guilty charge, with a non-guilty verdict for claiming the 14-year-old life of a Black American boy, Cyrus Karmic Belton. Fuck the United States of America. This is why I keep preaching to the Black Americans, to the Black migrants, to the African Americans, to the Caribbean Blacks. Please let us unify, because they want us dead. They want us dead. You see all of these laws that are going backwards. In 1991, somebody was found guilty for killing us for no reason. In 2026, that person is now not guilty. We don't have any protection in this world. We can only protect each other. It's time for us to become unified. Truly, because it's about to get real crazy. It's about to get real crazy.
When are we going to be honest that some of the Asian community, especially the ones with the restaurants, hair stores, and businesses, are actually aggressive, are naturally violent towards the Black community? And they specifically have all of their businesses in our neighborhoods because the white demographic will not allow them to integrate and take over their spaces. And this has happened since Jim Crow, since they were able to come over here and get these specific visas. And I'm not saying everybody, but what I am saying is that every single Asian, Korean, beauty store, convenience store, liquor store, anything that they've ever had, restaurant, whenever I have walked in there, nail shop, I have always been profiled, I have always been followed around, and I have always been deemed the aggressor, but I've never been treated with kindness, I've never been treated with respect, and I never have been valued. That is the issue. Rick Chow never valued Cyrus's life. There was no way of them knowing that he had anything on his person until he left that day. And a lot of people keep saying that he stole and it was over $1. It was over absolutely nothing. And what point in society are we going to say that no one regards Black life the way that Black people do? No one sees us as humans. They still see us as animals, and we are treated as such. And these are things that they are putting in their own kids, putting batteries in their kids' backs. And they are teaching their children to shoot to kill us first before we ever can do anything about it. And like I said, I'm not saying all, but there is a lot.
I got a good mind to think that Rick Chow didn't even shoot him. I believe the son did. Because looking at the video, that boy had a 20-yard head start on them. And Rick Chow like 60 years old. Now he ran over 130-something yards away. So you trying to tell me with a 20-yard head start, that 14-year-old was walked down by a 60-year-old man? I believe the son had the gun. The son got to him first and shot him. And then when the daddy saw what went down, he said, I'm going to take the charge. That's why everything played out the way it is. And when you think about it like that, and then you go back and listen to his testimony and see how stupid he was playing, he sounded like somebody who it's like the whole scenario didn't go down the way they said it went down. You see what I'm saying? Because if I unalive you, you're not there to speak for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Whatever went down is what I say went down. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I've been thinking about. How did a 61-year-old man, or however old he is, how did he walk down a 14-year-old who had a 20-yard head start on them? I believe the son did it.
This is not the first time that these Asians are doing this. This is not the first time that a lot of Asian, Hispanics, Mexican have proved to Black Americans specifically, that they are not with them. This is not the first time we're seeing this. We've seen a lot of people, a lot of black people going to patronize Asian businesses. The next thing they are saying is, you are stealing from us. You have done this. You have done that. Walk around that person to see if that person is not stealing. Please, can we boycott some of these businesses? This man is found not guilty. This man is found not guilty. And I can't wrap my head towards that some black people are still patronizing Asians. And when the time comes, they want black Americans to stand in solidarity. Nobody got black Americans back. I will still keep repeating it. A lot of them will even claim and tell you they are not black people. So what are we saying? What is the essence? But welcome back to the channel. My name is Sonia. Subscribe, like, comment, and share. Credits to the original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. I want to say a very big thank you to every single one of you liking, commenting, sharing, dropping super thanks, and also joining my membership. I do not take you guys for granted. You guys are absolutely the best. With that being said, let's dive right into this video. Watch the other clips that I have for you. I'll be back.
I think it is time to have a very deep talk with our brothers and sisters, the Chow family. And no, this has less to do with their names being Chow, both of them, and more to do with that they're Asian. So let's talk about it. If you don't recognize the people up here, this is the Chow family from the movie Sinners that Ryan Coogler directed, and he might be a goddamn psychic. So in the movie Sinners, what Ryan Coogler was trying to portray was that how Asian Americans fit into the system of capitalism in America and like the racial hierarchy. Whilst they were put above black people, they also acted as a wedge. So the Chows in Sinners, they own two convenience stores, one on the black side, one on the white side. On the white side is where Miss Chow works. Miss Chow is the skeptical, she is suspicious, and she is finicky. Whilst in the black neighborhood, Mr. Chow, he is communal, cool, and relaxed. But when they switch, they both switch, kind of personalities. Once in the white neighborhood, they are able to operate based off of assimilation and respectability politics. Whilst in the black neighborhood, they operate based off of a surveillance system and becoming an enforcer of the system to enjoy the racial hierarchy that they've been allotted, I guess. What Ryan Coogler was really showing was that this is historical. This isn't brand new. This is historical. This is how Asian Americans have been able to become a successful business model in America. And that's what you end up seeing in our neighborhoods. You see the Chinese restaurants, you see the beauty supply stores, and you also see the convenience stores in our most impoverished food deserts. Now let's talk about this Chow family. They own a convenience store in Columbia, South Carolina, where there are limited options for grocery stores, damn near a food desert. Very black populace. The only reason they're successful is because of the black dollar. But the only reason they were allowed to build a business is because they would become a black surveillance unit. Immigrants don't see how they've been used as a tool and as a wedge between the marginalized groups a lot of the times. What's interesting is that they build a wall of shame in it, like most Asian American businesses. So you go to a beauty supply store, there's a wall of shame. These people aren't allowed to shop here. It'd be 14-year-olds, 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds, people pushing baby carts. They stole a pack of $5 hair, and they got them pictures posted up everywhere. A wall of shame. You built a convenient, mind you, this is also the Chow family. They have a wall of shame in their convenience store. You built a wall of shame of who cannot shop here, whilst being in a poor black neighborhood that has limited options, whilst only being successful based on the black dollar. Then you're going to chase a teenage boy, not even really a teenager if you ask me, who 14 years old, you're not even a freshman. Is he about to go be a freshman in high school? A 8th grader, a fresh out of middle school 8th grader, and you shot him in his back with one shoe on. While he had one shoe on. Yeah, I'm sorry. And Cyrus is just like Tamir. He's just like Emmett, and he's just like Trayvon. Being shot for being a young black boy. Boy. The word is boy, not man. That's not a man. That's a young boy. Anybody can see clear as day that that's a young boy, period. Like, look at black beauty supply stores. It is impossible for a black person to own a black beauty supply store because it is damn near, being protected by the Korean manufacturers. When black women try to reach out to the Korean manufacturers to create black businesses based like black beauty supply businesses, they're locked out at a certain level. They have to pay insane prices that most Asian families, most Korean families do not have to pay when starting these businesses. Not only that, black women have a hard time getting permits and getting the ability to open and buy businesses. So when you compound those two things, that they're selling us our culture, selling us our products, selling us our hair, our style, following us in the store, and then knowing that we're discriminated against, so we're not going to be able to open the businesses, so they decide to open the business, and then we spend as Black women $7.5 billion on the beauty hair supply store. That none of that's going back to Black businesses, Black families, Black wealth. That is going straight to the Asian community. It's going back home. Like, that's the thing I always think about, because again, like, there's over 10,000 beauty supply stores. There's only 300 of them owned by Black women. Let's compound that. Like, not only do they realize that Black people aren't able to get loans, they aren't able to get permits, they aren't able to get approved to buy businesses, they decide to capitalize on that instead of capitalize on their own people, which is so malicious. Which brings me into Patrick Ta. Patrick Ta admired a Black woman's blush work. That's like the best way I'll put it. Her work as a makeup artist, right? After the industry had told us that they weren't going to give us more shades, that they didn't know how to make black shades, they weren't going to make cute blushes for us, they weren't going to make lip liners for us, they weren't going to make lipsticks for us, they weren't going to make lip glosses for us, right? After all of that, Esther's like, no, bitch, I got a beautiful blush for my dark skinned beauties. And when I tell you that shit is good, that shit is good. Esther, hit me up. And it's pretty. But instead of collabing with Esther, instead of trying to get Esther's, product maybe with your company and have a combined product to make a combined profit, you steal her idea, you commercialize it, and then sell it in Sephora, knowing that it's easier for you to get those types of deals than it is for Esther. Mind you, there is a reason and a passion behind she created transitional blushes. There's a reason and passion behind it, which is that dark-skinned women weren't getting anything. We don't get anything at the fucking... Like, Patrick Ta, I'm not gonna lie, I walk by your shit. Every time I see them, I walk by it. Patrick Star, I love me some one size. Okay, I'm sorry. The thing is, the system allows Asian Americans to, again, become wedges into stealing Black wealth where white people can't steal. They know that we're not finna buy Black beauty supplies from white people. They know that. So they allow them to become the wedge in the gap from Black generational wealth. And they let them make their wealth off of us. Think about why Patrick Ta took what he took and stole what he stole is because the system allows it. He's a privileged Asian male. Why wouldn't he do that? Esther should have been smart. Esther should have had her business model ready. Like, people of color is not synonymous, and it would not surprise me if Asian communities did not know how much they rely on the Black dollar, the Black pocket, and the Black wealth to create Asian wealth. That's the only reason why y'all have wealth is mostly because of the Black dollar. All I'm saying is, Ryan Coogler wrote a movie showing the Chow family selling out the Black people based on their own experience and their own wants and their own hurt by centering themselves. And now a Chow family is on trial in South Carolina for chasing and shooting and executing a young 14-year-old boy because he was Black. The sheriff, the police, and everybody in that damn courtroom knows that he ain't steal nothing. And the owner, Chow, was trying to use stand your ground law when it first started. Y'all thought racism was going to shield you. Y'all thought being surveillance enforcers was going to shield you. Y'all forget, you're not white. And that's just a message to my Asian American friends. Have a great day.
This is Sheriff Leon Lott. He is an officer out of Columbia, South Carolina, and he has voiced his opinion in reference to the verdict of Rick Chow. And he is standing with Cyrus and saying that murder is murder. Now, if you go to this page right here on Facebook and go to their last video, this is the sheriff. That will be the video of the sheriff speaking and voicing his opinion about what happened. Now, of course, as you guys can imagine, people has been divided and are voicing their opinions about this. It's starting to do numbers on Facebook, and I'm pretty sure it's about to make its way over to TikTok. And people are pretty much saying that they're glad that, the police aren't the ones that decides the fate of people, and basically stand in solidarity of Rick Chow and their verdict. And it is what it is. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, but I believe that it says a lot when you have police officers who are also voicing their opinion, saying what that verdict was wrong, and what happened to him was plain out murder. And it is what it is.
This isn't anime related, but I wanted to speak about this not as an anime content creator, but as an Asian American. Rick Chow was found not guilty in the murder of Cyrus Carmack Belton after chasing him down for 130 yards and shooting him in the back over supposedly a stolen water bottle. It is disgustingly similar to the murder of Latasha Harlins in 1991 when Korean store owner Soon Ja-do fought her and shot her in the back of the head as she was leaving over supposedly a stolen bottle of orange juice. I'm glad that a lot of other Asian Americans have spoken up about this already, so I don't have too much to add. I just want to be another point from which we can speak out against anti-blackness within our community. The fact that these two events happened 35 years apart from each other makes me question if we as Asian Americans have even made any progress as allies. I've seen so many other comments from other videos regarding this issue from black people saying that they feel like they don't have any allies anywhere. And you know what? If we as Asian Americans stand complacent while their children are being chased and shot in the back, we don't deserve to call ourselves allies. That's why I believe the most important thing right now is for us not to just be in solidarity, but to actively speak out against anti-blackness when we see it. If we don't, we are upholding white supremacy and proving to people that we have a desire of proximity to whiteness at the expense of our fellow minority communities. I'm sorry, I really don't have any profound words or anything. I'm more angry than anything else. But all in all, we as Asian Americans need to do better. We need to show that we do not stand for the murder of black children. We need to show that we do not stand for anti-blackness. And overall, we just need to do more to prove that we are actual allies to our fellow black community.
Remember what we out here for, y'all. Remember what we out here for. But at the same time, motherfuckers,
This is not the first time that Rick Chow has been involved in a shooting. This is not even the second time. This is the third time that Rick Chow has been involved in a shooting when it comes to his store. To be clear, the first two shootings did involve some type of shoplifting, but this third one, this fatal shooting of Cyrus, did not. He did not steal anything. Back in 2015, a woman enters his store, steals 2 cases of beer, and runs out. Rick Chow follows her outside, shoots at her car 6 times and misses all 6 shots. And because nobody was injured, nothing happened. Back in 2018, a man enters Rick Chow's store, and according to Chow, he stole some cleaning supplies, and when he confronted him, the guy tried to fight him. He told police officers that he shot him 2 times in self-defense. The man that he shot did survive, and he was charged with shoplifting. Rick Chow is very trigger happy, and whether he's right or in this case wrong about someone shoplifting, he will pursue them.
I figured he was going to be found not guilty, and there were 3 specific things about the case that gave me an inkling that Rick Chow was probably not going to be found guilty in the Cyrus Carmack case. Let's talk about it. So let me first say the 3 things. One thing was that this happened in South Carolina. We know that's in the South. Racism is still very much apparent in these southern states, right? That was one. The second one was that the child had a gun, okay? I knew that they can definitely make him seem like the aggressor if he had a weapon. I understand he didn't point it, he didn't use it, it doesn't matter, he still had it. And because he had it, it is so easy to manipulate, you know, oh, well, he was pointing at me, I was acting in self-defense, I felt like, okay. The third, and I think the most blowing thing to the case was that they didn't have a lesser charge. They didn't have a lesser charge, and with these criminal cases, you know you have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt, and I felt like first-degree murder was a stretch. Why was there no lesser charges, involuntary manslaughter, voluntary manslaughter, second-degree murder, third-degree murder, any other thing except for first-degree murder? And the prosecution didn't even ask for anything lesser, because they knew that they can use the way America sees black people as aggressors, as thugs, right? As violent, as thieves. They could use that to their benefit and knew that we don't even have to ask for anything less, because we might be pushing it if we ask for something less. Let's just, flip this around, make him seem like he was just this violent aggressor. You were fearing for your life, even though you chased him down more than 100 feet. This kid was literally coming out of everything. He dropped his phones, he dropped his backpack, ran out of his shoes, and unfortunately he fell. But he was shot in the back. But this this defense team was able to show, even with all of that, even with him putting the water bottles back, that Cyrus was the aggressor. So I think that was very strategic on the defense's side, but I think that was a drop the ball on the prosecution side. Murder requires you prove malice and intent beyond a reasonable doubt. It's the highest bar in criminal law. And when you're asking the jury to meet that bar, clear that bar, while telling them that this is a 14-year-old child who had a gun in South Carolina, I didn't think they was going to be able to do it. You've already handed this man an excuse to let him go home. It doesn't matter that Cyrus was running for his life. It doesn't matter that this is two grown adults that were chasing after him. It doesn't matter that they shot him in the back. The moment they put a gun in that child's hand in the narrative, he stopped being a victim and he became an aggressor. Now, I'm not saying that he wasn't a victim. I'm just saying how they see it.
Indictment number 2023 GS 4007440. State of South Carolina, County of Richland versus Chike Rick Chow. We, the jury, unanimously find the defendant, Chike Rick Chow, as to the charge of murder, not guilty. Sign number 302, foreperson, June the 1st, 2026. Madam Forelady.
We need to talk about Rick Chow. In 2023, he shot a 14-year-old black boy, Cyrus Carmick Belton. He had shot at 2 people prior to this. And I need the Asian American community to understand that you did not fall out of a coconut tree, that the anti-blackness rooted in the Asian American community is the Asian American community upholding white supremacy. AAPM month is over, but we all need a history lesson. Let me go through a couple things. 1, slavery never ended. I will tie everything together, but stay with me. Slavery never ended. It was actually just the modern prison system. 2, U.S. conquest never ended. It's just much easier to do a regime change and control other people's governments. So Korea and the Philippines, I'm talking in broad strokes to make a point. They are glorified U.S. military bases. The U.S. doesn't just hold hard power over these countries, many Asian countries. They also hold soft power because America exports its culture. The bedrock of U.S. culture is capitalism, white supremacy, and because of modern slavery, anti-blackness. So when we tempt Asian immigrants to come to America that have consumed the American dream, the allure is the proximity to whiteness. But when you get here, at best, you're a cog in the capitalist machine, and at worst, you too are a glorified serf, a subsistence farmer, someone who has to work just to survive. And you realize you were tricked by the system, but instead of pushing against the system, because then you would have to admit that you are fallible, that you can be tricked, you instead lean into the oppressive system and uphold the tenets of white supremacy in the United States, because you think that one day you'll be rewarded by this. So that anti-blackness that you are performing and mirroring mainstream white culture becomes ingrained in you, and you begin to believe it, and then you begin to spread it and pass it down. And then innocent young black children are murdered without repercussion. If you are an Asian American and you harbor anti-blackness within your heart, you're actually upholding your very own oppression. You're holding the knife of white supremacy to your own neck. Model minority myth meant to divide and conquer us. Just think critically, why does mainstream culture sow so much division? And why do you believe it? Why do you eat it up? I was a teacher for 2 years at many predominantly black institutions, and I grew up in a mostly white town. So I know deeply what indoctrination feels like. Not even against black people, but against what I was taught about myself. If we don't root out this darkness, if we don't break these spells that have been cast upon us just to extract from us, And that is such a deep shame on all of us, and the rot will just continue to eat anything that our community will ever try and build upon this.
It is not the role of civilians to serve as judge, jury, and executioner. It is not even the role of police officers. The death penalty is very rarely doled out in this country, and never for something as innocuous as maybe shoplifting. Civilian gun owners need to get this through their head. We also need to probably not have civilian gun owners, but that's my opinion. This is not Rick Chow's first go around. Cyrus Carmack Belton was not his first victim, apparently. It doesn't matter if that 15-year-old black kid actually did have a gun, as they claimed. Why do we treat everybody else with a gun so differently than a black person with a gun? And so what if he was stealing? So what? Billionaires steal from us all the time, and they don't get pew-pewed at. But again, as broken as this country is right now, and as unfair as we know the judicial system to be, it is not the role of civilians to be judge, jury, and executioner to teenage boys. And to the Chinese community and Asian community at large, if you let this drag you back into anti-blackness, race war nonsense, we are giving the white fascists exactly what they want. That man needs to have his firearms license taken away from him and go to prison for murder for the rest of his life. His son needs to go to jail too. I think there might be still hope for him because he's young, he's still a minor. But whatever horrible racist thoughts his father put through his head, he needs to unlearn them before he can rejoin society.
He shot a 14-year-old in the back, found not guilty. How does that happen? Well, let me explain. This is the owner of the store. This 14-year-old kid came in the store, and they're saying took a couple bottles of water. They're saying it over $1. He was pew-pewed in the back over $1. That's what the prosecutors are saying. When he took the items, which they believe he took, okay, they chase him down, the store owner and his son. The store owner then says the 14-year-old pulls out a gun and he pew-pews the 14-year-old before the 14-year-old pew-pews his son. That's what the defense is. The prosecutors didn't say this at all, okay? The prosecutors are saying it was only over $1. But if you go watch the trial, the defense attorney said that, no, this wasn't only over $1. It was because the 14-year-old had a gun and turned it on to his son. And he had to take action right then and there. And now people are up in arms. Oh my God, not guilty, not guilty. But we don't ask the question of, why did a 14-year-old have a gun? Why did a 14-year-old walking around have a gun in South Carolina? But we don't ask. We don't ask that at all. We just want to blame, blame, blame. Let's ask the question why a 14-year-old had a gun. Let's ask that question, okay? And then maybe we could solve all our problems.
His life was worth less than 4 bottles of water. This was the opening statement in the South Carolina versus Rich Child case. And the way it caught my attention, and I'm kind of triggered, feel like deja vu, it's crazy.
Took some water. Give us back the water. Cyrus said, I took nothing. I didn't take it. I didn't take it. And they continued to verbally attack him, accusing him of stealing water. Interestingly enough, you look at that intricate camera system, Cyrus is telling the truth. He took nothing from that store that day. As he tried to walk out of the store, they continued to verbally harass him to the point where he took his backpack and calmly walked out of the store.
Watching that lawyer's statement just made me think about the case of Latasha Harlins, and it's just so gut-wrenching. Her life was lost for a carton of orange juice that she also didn't steal. For me, the analysis in both of these cases is how anti-blackness is a byproduct of you coming into this country, and a lot of times the adultification of black children comes at the expense of their lives. Cyrus Carmack Belton is the name of the 14-year-old child that lost their lives over those bottles of water.
And as he walks toward that door, the co-owner, Alice Chow, says something in Cantonese that makes her son run around the counter towards Cyrus. And then Chai Kee Rick Chow, the defendant in this case, comes from out of an office in the convenience store, armed with a .45 caliber Glock pistol, and follows Cyrus out of that store.
And then stating obvious, we have 2 Asian store clerk owners who have a criminalizing understanding of black children that leads to them criminalizing their bodies so much that they become vigilant extensions of the law, and they believe they can be judge, executor, and jury. Han Nguyen wrote an article titled, "My Fellow Asian Americans, We Must Address the Anti-Blackness Rampant in Our Community. You only consider yourselves to be people of color when it benefits you." This is the opening line of the article. In a recent episode of HBO's Insecure, Molly, a comedian, Yvonne Orji, utters this line to an Asian man during a heated argument against racism. This statement is the crux of the conflict between how Asian and Black Americans interact. While both are often shoved into that umbrella term people of color, their different relationships to whiteness mean that there are no automatic in solidarity. In fact, it's quite the opposite. The article also makes the argument that the myth of the model minority is always weaponized against Black folks and especially delegitimizing our resistance. The perception of Asians being the good minority is an image that began in the 1950s and 60s to hold the group as being the example of what oppressed peoples can achieve if they only work hard and cause no trouble. This was pure propaganda and doesn't tell the full story. Not all Asian Americans are successful and rich. In fact, we have the greatest income disparities in any other group. The false image is also harmful to our mental health and device that keeps us in their lane. But even worse, it's been weaponized against the Black community to delegitimize their resistance and falsely demonstrate the system is fair since we are the so-called modern minority and are able to succeed.
Cyrus walks out of the store, takes a right, slowly, and hears them yelling, running after him. Turns to see, and again, the camera system shows these things, and he takes off running. Cyrus tries to run through the parking lot to the point to where he runs out of his Air Force One Nike shoe. Runs out of his shoe. Doesn't turn around to pick it up because you have an adult male running behind you with a .45 caliber Glock pistol who has falsely accused you of stealing. So he runs. He drops 2 cell phones out of his pocket. We know this to be true because there are witnesses who we expect you'll hear from who'll talk about how they had to throw on brakes to keep from hitting them as they ran across traffic. We know this to be true because of that intricate camera system. He drops 2 cell phones. One belonged to him, one to his mother. Doesn't turn around to pick up one of those cell phones. Continues to run, falls down, gets back up running, falls again, busts his shin, drops the backpack, keeps running. In total, Chi Rick Chow and his son chased Cyrus Carmack Belton over 130 yards off of their property onto a public road in Columbia, South Carolina. And eventually, after Cyrus fell a couple of times, Chi Rick Chow fired the fatal shot, which ended his life.
I also forgot to mention what happened to Latasha Harlan and she being able to walk free even though she got convicted of manslaughter. It literally was a catalyst in the 1992 LA race riots. In Sophia Allison's film, A Love Song to Latasha, she exposes the danger of this anti-blackness and how it impacted what happened in 1992 LA. And I'm making this video specifically to talk about how cases like this and stories like overturning affirmative action because Asians felt like they were being wronged by Black presence in higher education, it's what gets in the way of solidarity and what gets in the way of coalition and what makes it where a lot of Black people feel legitimized and highly skeptical of the quote unquote people of color.
It's honestly that bad that Black people have to be treated the way they always love to treat us. And this is why I said Asian America, Mexican America, Latinos, Hispanics, to even African immigrants. In as much as you are not Black American, you are immigrants. I always tell Black Americans to trade with caution. Because I feel like in every single thing, they'll always try to favor those people just because they just have that personal beef, personal hate for Black Americans. I've done one part of this video yesterday where I literally expatiated and showed a lot of video proofs and evidence how this guy walked into the store, took 5 bottles of water. The camera was looking at him. They said black kids dropped those bottles of water without taking anyone. Walking out of the store, the owner of the store saw the son, started following him and assuming that he stole something. And instead of saying it peacefully so that this guy can literally come, show you himself and go his way, they started running after him. And as an adult, I can tell you, if I was to be in his position, I'll literally get scared. Immediately I see people running, I'll have to run for my life actually because I don't know what is pursuing me. And according to their stupid story, they saw something in his bag that looks like is their water, blah, blah, blah. And according to their stupid stories as well, one thing led to another, and this teenage boy have to be shot. Made his mother childless. Unalive someone's child. Accuse someone's child. Pursue a teenager. An Asian American man. Even when every other person stood up, closed down the shop, currently another person is still doing something in that shop. And according to report that I'm seeing, oh, it is not the owner of the store that there is another person. Knowing fully well that these people can literally deceive you. And to cut a long story short, this man was found not guilty. His son was found not guilty. I know I'm bringing these stories and I'm bringing other people's reaction so that we as black people should understand that even when they are at fault, they'll always prove them to be not guilty. Boycott businesses. Shut down businesses. Stop buying for them. It's not important. Stop spending your money where you don't need to. Even if they have the highest, even if they have every single thing, boycott Asian people businesses. Because this is not the first time we're seeing such arrogance. This is not the first time we're seeing this. He is found not guilty. I couldn't sleep yesterday. I couldn't. What if he's my son? What if he's your son? For 3 years, this case has been on. And yesterday, or is it day before yesterday, he was found not guilty? Subscribe and follow for more. Bye, guys.